Hey boys and girls, I'm doing an elapsed time video for you today because it's been a while since we've done elapsed time and we learned so many different strategies with elapsed time that I want to make sure that you're able to complete the elapsed time lesson for day 3 in your packets with no problem. So before we get started with that, you know what I like to do, a problem of the day. So let's go ahead and take a look at what I have for us to do today. What do you notice about these arrays? I want you to look very carefully at these arrays. What do you notice about these arrays? What is the same and what is different? Take a look at this time. If there's somebody at home with you watching this video, I want you to go ahead and discuss what do you notice about these arrays? Okay, so I'm hoping the thing that you said is the same is that they are equal rows and columns. There's nothing extra on there. So when we do an array, we have to have equal rows and equal columns. But the thing that I notice that is different, if we take a look at this first array, I see that there are 4 rows with 6 in each row. And then if I look at the second array, I notice that there are 4 rows, but only 3 in each row. So 4 times 6 equals, and then 4 times 3 equals. So when you really think about it, if you take a look at this array would kind of be the break apart method. Now, I wonder who remembers what the break apart calls when we look at multiplication. We have the break apart property. That's correct, distributive. So this array would be the distributive property of this array if we had 2 of them. So that's a different way of seeing this array. So I'm kind of glad we were able to review that, and we're going to go ahead and get started on elapsed time. So if you notice from the lesson that's in front of you, we have the key concept and vocabulary that we need to know. So the word is elapsed time. And if we remember in class, when we talked about elapsed time, it means time that has passed. So if we take a look at the example that they provided us, it's a clock and it says 3:50 p.m. So if we look closely at this clock, I do notice that this clock is at 3:50 because the hour hand has not touched the 4 completely in the middle where this line is, because remember, that's the 4 o'clock hour when it touches this line. And then when I look at the minute hand, I notice that it's on the 10. And I remember when I count by 5s, when I get to the 10, that lands at the 50-minute mark. So this would be 3:50. And the time that we are trying to get to is 4:18. So what I love that they have done with this is that they've used the clock. And I told you, even as an adult, I like to use the clock to help me with the elapsed time. So what they did was they marked off that they started at 3:50 and then they had to count to get to the new time of 4:18. So what I like to do is I like to count by 5s until I get to the area where I need to be at. So I'm going to go ahead and mark on this clock the 50-minute mark, and I need to stop right here at 18. So I'm going to count by 5s to the bigger numbers, and then when I get to the smaller tick marks after the 3, I'm going to count that by 1s until I get to the time that I need to be at. So let's go ahead and count by 5s. I got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And then I have to start counting the little tick marks, 26, 27, 28. So there were 28 minutes that's passed between 3:15 and 4:18. Now, in class, I've shown you the visual model with the number line. And if we take a look, they've jumped 10 minutes, so plus 10 minutes to get to that 4 o'clock hour. And I always think it's important. If you're near going to the next hour, always stop at that o'clock hour or that hour and then try to move on. And we'll be practicing that throughout this lesson. So I know it's going to take 10 minutes to get to the 4 o'clock hour. So they jumped the 10 minutes. And then they made it easy on themselves because they knew from 4 o'clock to 4:18, it would be another 18 minutes. So when I do 10 plus 18, you get 28 minutes. And then what I showed you in class, if you take a look right here, we started at 3:50. We created our T-chart. And so our start time is 3:50, our end time is 4:18. So like I said, make that easy transition by going to the next hour. So we do the 10-minute jump to the 4 o'clock hour. Then I took another 10-minute jump and that got me to 4:10. And then I did an 8-minute jump to get me to 4:18. And when I added that all up together, I got the answer or result of 28 minutes. So how much time passes between 3:50 and 4:18? 28 minutes. So let's take a look at some more examples that they provided us. So they started at 5:20 and the end time is 5:37. So kind of like what I was doing with you, I mark off where I need to go. And then I just count by fives, 5, 10, 15 to the big number, which is the 7. And then I count the little tick marks, 16, 17. So the elapsed time from 5:20 to 5:37, 17 minutes. And then of course, once again, look like we're going into another hour from 9:55 to 10:26. So I would start at that 9:55 and I would mark off where I need to land at the 10:26. And then I would count by fives, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 31, okay? Because we got that little jump right there, 31. So from 9:55 to 10:26 took 31 minutes. And of course, if you take a look down here at the bottom, because you know how I like to do, I have to have my T-chart just to make sure I'm doing it correctly. But I love the clock example too. So for my T-chart for the 5:20 to the 5:37, I just added on 10 minutes to get me to 5:30. And then I knew I needed another 7 minutes to get to 5:37. So that gives me the total time of 17 minutes to get from 5:20 to 5:37. Same thing with the 9:55 to the 10:26. I went ahead and I just made it easy on myself. I went ahead and took that jump to 5 minutes to get me to the next hour of 10 o'clock. And then from there, I did 10 minutes, but you could do 20-minute increments because remember, it doesn't matter the increments that you use as long as you're able to get the right amount of time. So some of you may have thought, well, I could just do a 30-minute jump and then jump 1 minute. That's true. But remember, everybody's at a different level when it comes to time. So I want you to do what is easy for you. And so we have the 5-minute increment getting us to the 10 o'clock hour. And then from there, we've got 10 minutes, gets me to 10:10. Another 10 minutes gets me to 10:20. And then I know I need to get to 10:26. So I'm going to add 6 more minutes. And that gives me a time of 31 minutes, elapsed time of 31 minutes. Now let's take a look at the application example. So you have 45 minutes before you have to go to bed. You spend 9 minutes getting ready for bed and the rest of the time reading a book. How much time do you spend? So if we take a look right here, it's going backwards in time. So we know we have to go to bed in 45 minutes, but we want to start by knowing it's going to take me a certain amount of time to get ready before getting in bed. So what they did, they went ahead, I'm going to do a 5-minute increment. So they went back 5 minutes, and when they went back 5 minutes, they jumped to 40 minutes. But then remember, we still have 9 minutes total that we have to fill. So they decided to go back another 4 minutes, and they were able to land at 36 minutes. So they spent 36 minutes reading their book before they went to bed. And I did another example by knowing it's just simple subtraction. If I can, I will try. So I just did 45 minus 9, and I know that I can't borrow 9 from 5, so I have to go next door and borrow from the neighbor. What? Borrow from the neighbor. So once I borrow from the neighbor, this 4 then becomes a 3, and the 3 or the 4 gives a 10 to the 1's place, and that becomes a 15. So 15 minus 9 is 36. And then 3 minus 0 equals, I mean, not 36, 15 minus 9 equals 6. I apologize. And then 3 minus 0 equals 3. So that gives us an answer or a difference of 36. So let's go ahead and practice makes perfect. So I've decided I'm not going to do all of the problems for you, but I'm going to do at least half of them so you can get an example of how to complete the rest. So for you, that means you're going to need some paper. And I know that it wasn't provided for you, but hopefully you have some paper on hand, even if it's just blank paper or lined paper, something where you can work these problems out, because you definitely want to make sure you are getting the correct amount of time for your answers. So for number 4, it says start at 7:10 and end at 7:53. So I went ahead and took the liberty of getting it started for you so you can get an example of what it should look like. So 7:10, and I'm going to add 20 minutes. Adding this 20 minutes is going to help me get to the next big important time of 7:30. So when I add 7:10 to 20 minutes to 7:10, I'm going to get 7:30. Okay. And so right here, this is also going to become 7:30. Just want you to be able to see it visually with the number line. So this means we just took a how much? 20 minutes right there. We just did a 20-minute jump. Okay, let's try to do another. Don't know, but I'm going to try for another 20 minutes. And this 20 minutes, I go from 7:30. If I add 20 minutes to 7:30, what do you think my new time is going to be? Exactly, 7:50. All right, so we're doing some good time right now. So I only need to make up how many more minutes to get to 7:53. You said 3 minutes, you are correct. So we're going to do plus 3 minutes, and plus 3 minutes is going to give me the time of 7:53. So now the question is, what is our total amount of time? So I can do 20 plus 20, which gives me 40. And then I can add another 3 minutes to it. So how many minutes is it? 43 minutes. I should have stuck to typing. It was a little easier. So 43 minutes. Now, I'm going to do the same thing I did over there right here by making another jump of 20 minutes, just like we just did. And making another jump of 20 minutes, and I'll put my 20 right in here. I like to put it on the inside. Sometimes I put it on the top, it just depends. And I know that I've stopped at 7:50. Now, I just know I need to make another jump. This time is going to be 3 minutes, because remember, we're trying to get to the time of 7:53. And then I just add that up, and I get my time of 43 minutes to get from 7:10 to 7:53. Now, what if I decide to use a clock? There's nothing wrong with using a clock. So I know I would need to start at 7:10. So right here, I'm going to mark 7:10. And I know I need to end at 7:53. That's the 53-minute mark right there. So I'm going to do my jumps, and I'm going to count by fives. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. Okay. Oop, I didn't need to go 45. Let's go back one. And that just took out the whole thing. So that's a great thing about technology when you're learning how to try to teach online, learning how to make mistakes. But you know what? I like to learn from my mistakes. So we're going to try again. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. I'm going to stop at the 10, 40. And then I have my 3 tick marks in between the 10 and the 53. So literally 1, 2, 3. So that's 3 minutes plus 40 gives me 43. Let's go ahead, move on to question number 6. So our start time is 8:05 p.m. and our end time is 8:29 p.m. As you see, I left this blank because I want you to see there are different types of increments that we can use to still get the same time. So I think a great one that I can start with, I'm going to start with 15 minutes. Okay, so what would 15 minutes be if I add it to 8:05? 15 minutes to 8:05. So if you're thinking 8:20, you are correct. So I have the time of 8:20 now. So I'm going to go to my next line because I still got to move on. So I know I'm at 8:20 and I need to go to 8:29. So how many minutes is that I'm trying to make? That is a 9-minute jump. And so I'm going to add my 9 minutes and my new time, 8:29. So if I add 15 minutes plus 9, what is that going to get me? Well, let's see. What's 5 plus 9? That's 4. And I carry the 1 into the tens place. And then that's 14. I carry the 1 to the tens place. And then I got 1 plus 1, which gives me 2. So my answer should be 24 minutes. So let's go ahead and transition this over here. So the time that I am marking, remember we're starting at 8:05. Remember, it's okay. Make a simple mistake, I can recover from it. I need to do a 15-minute jump. So that was 15. If I type this up, so it's easier to read for you guys because I do apologize. So I have 8:20 now when I made my 15-minute jump. And then we made a 9-minute jump. So it's not going to be as far, but it still serves its purpose. And my new time is 8:29. So there you have it. Once again, we have demonstrated that 15 plus 9 is going to equal 24 minutes. Now, if we come down here, we do our 8:05. So mark 8:05, and then I'm going to mark the 29, and then I'll just count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, and then I have to make my smaller increment jumps by 1s. 21, 22, 23, 24. So I just showed you 3 different ways that you can solve this problem. Am I telling you that you have to do all of them? No, I'm just showing you the way that you're probably going to prefer to use in order to be able to go from one time to another time for elapsed time. So let's take a look at question number 8. So I went ahead and just said, let's just do a 30-minute jump. So what was 7:25 plus 30 minutes equal, because if you notice, I'm trying to get to 8:11 a.m. So we're going to type in 7 what? I add 30 minutes to 7:25. 7:55. Very good. So you know how I am. I like to get as close as I can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in just 5 minutes, only because I just want to be able to get to the next hour. So I'm going to go ahead and add the 5-minute jump. And so when I add my 5-minute jump, that should bring me to what hour? 8 o'clock. Very good. So now I'm in the 8 o'clock hour, and I still need to go how many more minutes to get to 8:11? That is correct, just 11 minutes. So we're going to just add 11 minutes. So what is my new time? It's 8:11. Very good. So now all we have to do is just add. So if I add this up, so what I'm going to need to do is make sure I line my numbers properly. So my ones are lined up and my tens place is lined up. So now I can add with no problems. So if I take a look, I know that 0 plus 5 is 5. 5 plus 1 is 6. Okay? And then there's no need to regroup or take anything to the neighbor. So I'm going to do 3 plus 1 is 4. So how many minutes does it take me to get from 7:25 to 8:11? 46 minutes. So we're going to go ahead once again and use the number line, pretty much doing what we were just doing. So I'm going to make my 30-minute jump. And my 30-minute jump lands me at the time of, let me make this a little smaller so it'll fit properly, of 7:55. And remember, I need to put in here that this took me 30 minutes. Now, you may have wanted to just do 35 minutes so you can get to the next hour of 8 o'clock, and that's fine. Whatever works for you. So I'm going to do my little jump of 5 minutes. And so with my little jump of 5 minutes, now I'm at the 8 o'clock hour. And then I need to go how many more minutes to get to 8:11 again? I need to go 11 minutes. Then I'll just put 11 right there. And so that 11-minute jump helps me to know that I am now at the time of 8:11, and then I should be able to determine how many minutes it took me to get from 7:25 to 8:11. And how many minutes does it take? 46 minutes. So once again, we'll just mark on this clock for friends who want to use a clock to help them with solving these problems. So 7:25 to 8:11, I know the 7:25 is right here, and 8:11 is right here. So remember, we're going to count by fives first. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. That should be a hump right there. 45 should be a hump right there as well. And then I just need to make a 1-minute jump to 46. And there you have it, 46 minutes. So as you can see, what they have done now for question number 11 is they have taken it and giving us the elapsed time now. And what we have to do with the elapsed time is figure out what the end time is going to be. So I went ahead, once again, didn't get a chance to change this out. Sorry, friends. I went ahead and have this set up for you. So 6:15, and I know I'm trying to get as far as I can with this time. So I did 6:15 plus 30. So what would 6:15 plus 30 be? 6:15 plus 30 gives me the time of what? 15 plus 30. Yes, 6:45. All right. So now I'm thinking, just to be on the safe side, I want to go ahead and get to the next hour. How many minutes do you think it's going to take me to get to the next hour without going over our 51 minutes? 15 minutes, that's correct. So we're going to go ahead and type it in, 15 minutes. So 6:45 plus 15 should bring us to what time again? Gosh, you guys are just so good at this. It's going to bring me to the 7 o'clock hour. So now I know if I add in my head 30 plus 15, that gives me how many minutes? 45 minutes. Very good. And we still need to get to the 51-minute mark. So I'm just going to keep it simple because I know I can do it in my head, but there might be somebody out there who doesn't know how to do it in their head. So I'm just going to go by 5-minute increments until I get to the time that I need to get to. So with that being said, I'm going to add 5 minutes. And so that brings me to a total of 50 minutes now. And my new time is going to be 7:05. All right, so now I'm at the time of 7:05. So from there, what I'm going to do is I know that I'm at 50 minutes, but I need to get to 51 minutes. So that means I just need to add 1 whole minute. So we're just going to add 1 minute, literally 1 minute. And so with that being said, I know when I add that 1 minute, my time is now going to be 7:06. So it took me 51 minutes from 7:15 to get to 7:06. And if you just need to double check to make sure you did this correctly and make sure everything is lined up properly. Remember, we line up our ones placed properly. So our 0 plus 5 is 5, 5 plus 5 is 10, and 10 plus 1 equals 11. So I'm going to go ahead and just write a 1 in the ones place and carry the other one to the top of the tens place. So I have 1 plus 3 is 4, 4 plus 1 is 5. So guess what, friends? 51 minutes it was. So what is our end time that they were asking for? Our end time is 7:06. All right, so how do I do this on a number line? Same way we just did it right here. I would do my 30-minute jump, nice long 30-minute jump. And the time that I land at when I do a 30-minute jump is going to be 6:45. So I'm going to type in 6:45. And this is 30 minutes, remember, our 30-minute jump. Okay, and then from 6:45, I need to go 15 minutes, only half that distance. Probably wasn't the best 15-minute jump out there, but I did the best I could. So 30 plus 15, we know from doing the math over there, is 45 minutes, and that will bring us to a time of 7 o'clock. All right, and then I need to make another jump. This one will be 5 minutes, and I write my 5 in here. And my 5-minute jump will bring me now to a time of 7:05. And then I know So far, I've only done 50 minutes. I need to make one more jump. Nice little jump right there. Boop. My nice little jump of 1 minute, and that's going to bring me, and I'll put my time at the top to make it just a little bit easier to read, of 7:06. So there we have it. 7:06 is the time that we were getting to from 6:15, because we did a 51 minutes of jumps, pretty much. So let's take a look right here. Now, how would I do this on a clock? I know I need to start at 6:15. Then, of course, I'll count by fives. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, and I know I need to make one more jump. Lands me at the 6. So I know I'm going into the next hour from the 6 o'clock hour. So I went from 6:15 into 7 o'clock hour of 7:06. So that will give me 51 minutes right there. All right, art class. Question number 13, art class. Art class is 47 minutes long. During class, you spend 28 minutes drawing and the rest of the time painting. How much time do you spend painting? Whew, that's a lot, isn't it? So 47 minutes and then 28 minutes. So the way that I like to do this is, I know I need to take some time away from this 28 minutes to add to the 47 minutes to get me to the next hour. So I know 47 plus 10, just gonna keep it simple. 47 plus 10 brings me to 57. Now, if I know my math correctly, there are 60 minutes within an hour. So I need, and I'm sorry, I forgot to do this over here, 28 minutes, and I subtract 10 from this 28, because I remember I'm taking the time from this 28. So now I have 18 minutes. So 47 plus 10 gives me 57. I need to keep going. So I know that 3 more minutes is going to get me to the 60-minute mark. So I'm going to add 3 minutes here. And that gets me to 60. So since I just took 3, now I have to borrow 3 from over here. And so 18 minus 3 will give me 15. So now this makes it a little bit easier to be able to figure out how much time I spend painting. Why do you say that? Because I know that there are 60 minutes in an hour. So this 60 is going to be 1 hour. And then, of course, how many minutes do I have left? 15 minutes. So it would be 1 hour and 15 minutes. Now, we don't normally do problems like this, but it's good practice. And I'm hoping that you were like, wow, Ms. Green, this just makes it so much easier when you put it that way. So boys and girls, I was able to assist you with completing this assignment. What I want you to do is I want you to keep practicing with doing the numbers that we did not complete. I want you to be able to try to do them on your own, because I know that you can do it. It's been an amazing time working with you on Elapsed Time. You know how I feel about math. I love math. And so if you have any questions or concerns, still trying to understand time, go ahead and have your parents contact your teachers. You can contact me. You can contact Ms. King, or you can contact Ms. McJunkins. And if they have any questions, I am always here to assist you. I hope you have a great day. Bye.